Hello guys, it's Cashfish, and in this video we'll be talking about how there is no best decade. Not the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or early 2000s. They all have their great moments, but none of them are the greatest decade. Let me explain. Every decade has its world problems. In the 40s it was the Holocaust and World War II. In the 60s it was the Vietnam War. In the 80s it was the Cold War and fear of nukes, which is still going on today. I'm talking about you, Kim Jong-un. My point is, everyone is arguing over what the best decade is, but their decades have many flaws. Also, a decade is a measurement of time, not a trend, zeitgeist, or evolutionary change. It is a measurement of time. Though you can argue at the beginning of every decade, like music, you can argue that the music landscape changes. But music and other trends don't usually start until a few months or years into the decade, or even before it starts, and usually near the end of the decade. Not exactly at the end, but usually a few months or years before the next decade. But back to the point anyway. Anything can happen in the measurement of time, and it has little to nothing to do with the decade itself. And every decade has its flaws that people look over, and they usually focus on the pros of their decade and the cons of others when arguing which decade is the best. I see this as a bad thing. Look, I love my childhood, and I love to look back on it, but that doesn't mean it's automatically great times. My childhood was great, but it had a dark side. I had mental issues like depression, hallucinations, generalized anxiety disorder. Most of us can look back on our childhood and only see the bright side of nostalgia, but ignore the dark times that happened in our childhood. Again, I am saying this is a bad thing because it can ruin our perspectives on how decades actually work. But when people argue what decade is the best, they usually do this. That's all for this video, guys. Subscribe, like, and turn notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next one.